champions of the past. We have world champions of the present. Marissa Shields in the building. Marissa.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out.
Andrew Tate just called out Jake Paul, the so-called boxing prodigy, for dodging his fight offer. For someone who claims to take on anyone, anywhere, Jake seems to have suddenly developed a suspicious case of stage fright when it comes to facing Tate. And Tate isn't pulling any punches with his words. According to him, the problem child has turned into the avoidance expert. Let's be real, Jake's not exactly busy with tough opponents. Cherry picking has practically become his trademark.
Clown on the fucking internet. If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living fuck out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate.
This isn't the first time Jake Paul's bravado has fallen flat. Remember his open challenge to Conor McGregor that led nowhere, or his feud with Sean Strickland, another empty flex? Andrew Tate didn't hold back, claiming Jake thrives on headlines, not real fights.
Versus Andrew Tate.
Wow.
But here we are, so we could talk about that side note announcement. And please go watch the episode.
Hold on a second. What you mean you versus Andrew Tate? Because
no, I'm not saying a fight. I'm saying like our back and forth. He talks shit about me and like says he wants to beat my ass or can beat my ass and all this stuff.
I think there's a better fight to make.
I am so excited about this fight.
Has been training with him.
Andrew Tate has consistently criticized Jake Paul's approach to the sport, and rejecting a fight with him only added fuel to the fire. Tate mocked Jake's excuses, ranging from the terms weren't right to vague mentions of career strategy. Never one to hold back, Tate dismissed these as nothing more than fear dressed up in PR talk. According to him, Jake's entire career is built on dodging real competition. And when you look at the facts, it's hard to disagree.
If my brother doesn't fuck you up, I will. And it has to go down. But I don't think he gets in the ring with one of us.
Jake's reluctance becomes even more glaring when you consider his upcoming fight with Mike Tyson.
Jake Paul's reluctance is even harder to ignore when you consider his upcoming fight with Mike Tyson. Yes, Tyson is a legend and a name guaranteed to draw millions of pay-per-view buys, but he's also 57 years old. Despite his iconic status, Tyson's prime is decades behind him, making any fight with Jake feel more like an exhibition than a serious contest. Andrew Tate didn't mince words, calling out the contradiction in Jake's narrative. How can he claim to be a disruptor in boxing, while choosing to fight someone closer to retirement age than elite competition?
This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, who would fuck you up. I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put three.
It's not just the Tyson fight raising eyebrows, it's the pattern. Jake Paul has a track record of calling out big names but never following through. His challenge to Conor McGregor went nowhere, and his flashy call-out of Sean Strickland fizzled just as quickly. Jake's playbook is clear. Talk big, generate buzz, but avoid stepping into the ring with a real threat. Andrew Tate has repeatedly called Jake out, and unlike some of Jake's other targets, Tate is both willing and highly qualified to fight. As a seasoned professional with victories over world-class competition, Tate represents a legitimate challenge. A fight between the two wouldn't just be a spectacle, it would be a true test of Jake's skills. But instead of stepping up, Jake has chosen the comfort of hand-picked opponents.
I will fight you any day of the fucking week.
This isn't just about Andrew Tate's frustration with Jake Paul. It's about what Jake's actions mean for his legacy. Jake loves to position himself as a disruptor, someone redefining boxing, but actions speak louder than words. By dodging fights with legitimate contenders like Tate, he undermines his own narrative. Instead of revolutionizing the sport, Jake appears more focused on turning it into a reality TV show where he controls the storyline. Fans are catching on. Social media has erupted with criticism of Jake's decision to duck Tate as the public starts to see through the carefully curated image. Many now recognize that Jake's rise in boxing has been driven more by spectacle than by genuine skill. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate has only gained respect for exposing the hypocrisy and directly challenging Jake to step up.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out of you. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, who would fuck you.
This entire saga highlights a deeper issue within the world of boxing. The sport has always balanced skill and showmanship, but Jake Paul's approach skews heavily toward the latter. By prioritizing marketable matchups over meaningful competition, he's contributing to the erosion of boxing's integrity. Andrew Tate's criticism goes beyond personal frustration. It's about defending the sport itself. What makes the situation even more frustrating is that a fight between Jake and Tate would have been a blockbuster event. Both men are charismatic and masters of hyping a fight, making the build-up alone worth watching. More importantly, it would have been a chance for Jake to prove himself against a legitimate fighter. Instead, his decision to reject the fight sends a clear message. He's not ready for that level of competition. Tate isn't letting this go quietly, and why should he? Jake's decision to walk away from the opportunity isn't just a missed chance for both men. It's a telling indicator of Jake's priorities. For all his talk about wanting to be taken seriously as a boxer, his actions suggest otherwise. This isn't an isolated incident either. Jake's career is filled with moments where his bravado has outpaced his follow-through. From challenging Conor McGregor to teasing a fight with Mike Tyson, Jake has consistently generated buzz without delivering on his promises. His latest move only reinforces the growing perception that he's more focused on headlines than genuine competition.
I think you're focused on boxing boxers, people that are in the space that you reside.
Jake, I know he's been talking shit about you, bro. Yeah. But with your blessing, can I beat the shit out of Andrew fucking Tate?
100%.
This time feels different. By rejecting a fight with Andrew Tate, Jake Paul isn't just dodging another opponent, he's dodging a real chance to prove himself, and the public knows it. Tate's relentless criticism has only intensified the scrutiny on Jake, making it harder for him to hide behind excuses. Contrast that with Andrew Tate's offer. Tate is a multiple-time kickboxing world champion who's competed professionally against legitimate opponents. This wouldn't be a match against a retired athlete or an influencer still learning the ropes. It would be a real test against someone capable of exposing any weaknesses Jake might have.
But let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see what happens in the